Yo, what's going on, guys? So welcome back for another video here. I unfortunately have the day off work, and I say that because I actually wanted to be at work today because I've got so much stuff to do. But yeah, thanks to coronavirus, there's been a little bit of a hot spot here on the northern beaches. So I figured I'd use the opportunity in the little bit of time that I had to put together a video of what I'm going to be doing today. And today we're going to be looking at my reef tank here and doing a little water change on it and giving you a bit of an update on how everything's progressing and some of the catastrophes I've had recently with it, unfortunately. But yeah, all in all, it's bouncing back, and yeah, give you a bit of an update here and have a bit of a deeper look at it. Welcome to Beach's Scaly Beasts, where I focus on the natural keeping of herpetofauna and marine aquaria. So yeah, as I said, there's been a bit of an outbreak of the old coronavirus here in the northern beaches, and my wife and I were unfortunately at a particular spot, one of the supermarkets here, when somebody was infected and walking around. So we've been out for our nose jab, our little corona test this morning, along with our sister-in-law. And yeah, just waiting on results for that, so then hopefully I can go back to work, because I'm expecting dragons and stuff to turn up tomorrow, and just it's just all over the shop at the moment, unfortunately. So yeah, a little bit ticked off that I couldn't actually go in. But yeah, as I said, I'm going to make use of the time and the little bit of time before I got to wait for these results to come in, and hopefully we'll get a nice water change done on this reef tank. It's actually looking pretty good this morning. The T5s haven't kicked on yet, but yeah, I'll give you a bit of an update on it. There's going to be a few changes and stuff happening with this tank. I'm going to be redoing the cabinetry and all sorts. I'm going to be doing some off the side here. I'm going to have a couple of IKEA cabinets, essentially just for like food storage and power and bits and pieces. I've ordered a new sump for it as well, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, got a few toys that are slowly going to be coming out of the works to help kind of clean it up and make it look a little bit nicer and a little bit newer. I don't actually mind the glass box itself, but yeah, got a few things that I want to tinker around with and get done on it. I actually want to build a like a little light pelmet as well. So instead of having the net on the top, I essentially want to build like a frame out of the connected aluminium stuff that you can get from Bunnings, and just kind of sit it on the top with the lights and stuff all in there, and then maybe get some like perspex or something, some like white perspex, just to kind of frame it in, keep the fish in the tank, but also, you know, kind of just hold all the light inside the actual unit itself, because we do get a lot of the blue light bleed in the room because of the way that it's kind of set up here. I've got a core flute kind of flap here just as a bit of a light diffuser, so I don't get blinded when I'm in bed looking at the tank. But yeah, there's going to be a few things that I'm tinkering around with. So as far as a bit of an update on the tank, unfortunately that same weekend that I lost those blue tongues recently, had a bit of a catastrophe where the tank overheated in the night time as well. Got up to about 31 degrees in the bedroom here, and I don't usually run the chiller 24/7, so that kind of ended up not great for me when it's 31 degrees in the middle of the night, which doesn't happen very often, but unfortunately due to that I lost a few corals. I'm sure you guys could probably pick out that I'm missing that big green acro that I had up the top there. I actually lost quite a few fish as well. I lost a big clownfish, Clarky clown. I lost cleaner wrasse, Decora goby, my coral beauty angel as well, which I really love that fish. I love that and the cleaner wrasse especially. They were such awesome fish. So yeah, I lost quite a few fish, and I did lose a few corals as well, which was not great. And yeah, so I got the water tested at work. We've got this kind of water link machine, and so instead of me sitting down doing testing kit results with Salifert or Red Sea or API or anything like that, I can actually do it through work, where you take in a little sample and put it on this special machine that spins it around and gives you all your results within minutes. So it's actually, I'd rather pay the money myself than sit down here and do the testing myself. And yeah, it turns out really, really good. But yeah, unfortunately I had a bit of ammonia, a bit of nitrite, and my nitrates had skyrocketed as well. So there's just a whole bunch of contributing factors that weren't good for me there. Everything else was reasonably in check though, like my alkalinity, calcium and magnesium are all reasonably good. There's a little bit of fine tuning that I need to do there. I need to drop my magnesium a little bit, but yeah, I've tested it 2 or 3 times since then, and we're kind of getting it a bit more under control now. My nitrates are still really high though, so they're sitting at about 28 parts per million. I did a test yesterday, so I'll take a screenshot and I'll put it up here of the results that you kind of get in. So I'll do that. And you can see what my water parameters and stuff were sitting at. But yeah, this machine, man, makes life so simple. I'd much rather use this and get my water tested in 2 minutes and, you know, not have to wait around and test things for 15, 20 minutes. It's good just to be able to kind of punch it all out in one hit. So yeah, I mean, other than all that that's going on, most of the corals actually seem to be doing pretty good at the moment. My little red Monty cap's actually starting to really grow in now. I think it's really accustomed to the spot that it's sitting in. You can see my little pink gonioporas and stuff up the back here. They've all reopened up. This awesome little mausolea coral down here is doing fantastic. And my chalices are growing like weeds at the moment too, so I can't wait for them to kind of take over the tank a little bit. They just seem to be a coral that does really, really well in this tank. So, you know, I kind of started with a few decent pieces and then I've got all these nice little red frags and stuff along the front here. So it'll be awesome when these red ones are particularly large. I reckon that'll look really cool. Zoas have gone nuts, like that's just pretty much spread everywhere. I almost need to contain a few of the pallies, just because they're going a little bit haywire. I pulled the small clam that was in my other little Pico reef tank, the kind of like little lagoonal reef tank. I pulled that out of there just because he was just getting swamped by macroalgae and things, and I just didn't want to lose the clam, so I popped him back into this tank. So he's kind of just reacclimating to the light and everything in here. But this other larger clam down the back here is absolutely loving life. It's growing like a weed too. It's just really starting to shoot off, which is awesome. I absolutely love clams. I reckon they're just such an awesome part of a reef tank. So yeah, I think I'm going to hold off putting any more kind of like acros or anything in this tank for the time being, at least until, you know, Danny and I move houses or whatever, and I could run the chiller 24/7 and know that they're going to not overheat. I think that's when I'll start getting a bit more into like the SPS side of things. There are still a few SPS pieces in here, a few acros and millies and stuff like that, but at the same time, you know, I want it to be kind of packed with SPS along the top personally, so I'm just going to toy around with what I know is working at the moment, what's pretty hardy. I can't wait for that little red Monty cap to kind of really grow into. That's got to be one of my favourite corals out there. I know it's like, you know, common as all buggery, but I just reckon they're phenomenal. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, some of the things that you don't really expect either, like this little Gorgonian that's right up the front here, that suffered heaps of tissue loss, and there is another piece of it over the other side, another large piece, and that's had a lot of tissue loss as well. And these things, you know, I've been kind of pumping the tank with a bit of amino acids at the moment as well, which obviously doesn't help for the waste levels, but in saying that, I can see the tissue just starting to really grow back quite quickly on these, which is really cool because I don't want to lose those as a coral. I got these as part of my birthday present, so they're a bit of a unique piece. So, you know, it'll be interesting to kind of see, and hopefully these things bounce back really well. All right, so we're going to skip back in time a few days where I made up some salt water, and I'm going to show you how I made it up. Because I don't use natural seawater in this tank, or I very rarely do. You know, if I need to do an emergency water change or something, I might quickly get some natural seawater from work, just because it's just easy, it's on hand. I'm pretty much there every day. So it's just easy to kind of be able to go in and grab a couple of drums of that and do a quick emergency water change. But yeah, this time round I've mixed up my salt, and yeah, I'll show you how we do that, and then we'll jump in and we'll do a water change. So one of the most important things about doing a water change is you obviously need salt water. So for this, I'm actually going to mix up my own salt water. I'm currently using some of Quantum salts, and I'm just going to pop about 20 litres of RODI water into this drum, and I'll make up another 20 litres of RODI for another drum. So we can do a big 40 litre water change perhaps. So I'll see how I feel when I get to it, and then we'll get it going. Inside the drum I've actually just put a little return pump in there, and that's just going to circulate the water and the salt around and just mix it nice and well. And ambient temperatures at the moment are around kind of like 23 to 25 degrees, so I'm not even going to bother putting a heater in the water. But if this was winter, I'd probably whack a heater in there just so that it actually warms the water up to the same sort of temperature as the tank. So it's a little bit of a funny angle at the moment, but that's just because I mix up the salt water in a spare bedroom here. Just means it's out of the way for a day or two while it's all nicely mixing. I don't mind kind of taking my time doing this. I've just got a little set of kitchen scales in here as well that I measure it up with. We need about 700 grams this particular salt I found was the best kind of area to dial it in at. So we're at 600 there. $701. So that's alright. We'll go and pop it in the bucket behind here and get it all nicely dissolved. I try to pour it in a little bit slowly just so it doesn't kind of all go in one big rock. So I'm going to go make up some RODI and do the same process. We'll make up another batch. So how I make my RODI is a pretty simple system. I've just got the little water filter system there. It's a Century water filter. You can get them off eBay for reasonably cheap. And it just hooks up to the bath tap here, which I can whack on. And essentially it's got two hoses. One's a wastewater hose and the other one's actually the good filtered water. So you just want to make sure you get the right hose into the container itself. And I like doing it in the bath because if I forget about it and it overflows, at least it's only going down the drain and not all through your house. Then I'll just fill up a 20 litre drum at a time and we'll go from there and make up another batch of salt water. This is also what I use for my top-off water, which is excellent because it's so close to the bedroom. I don't have to lug drums up and down stairs. It's only a few metres in between different rooms. So currently it's working pretty well for me. So amongst other things, while I'm doing this water change, I'm going to do a couple of other things too. So I'm going to actually hit a couple of Aptasia, which are a little pest anemone, with some Red Sea Aptasia X. I've just got a few little ones popping up at the moment. I might consider getting some peppermint shrimp soon. We've got some good wild caught ones at work that absolutely destroy Aptasia, so I might get a couple of those in, but if I can nail it with the Aptasia X, I will. And then I've got to clean in underneath the, well, not clean the sump, but I've got to clean the skimmer. Oh, the automatic light just turned on. Yeah, I've got to clean the skimmer cup out, and I'll give the filter slot a clean as well. I gave the sump a bit of a clean out last weekend, I think it was. I gave it a good clean out, gave it a bit of a vacuum and stuff just to try to get any detritus out. I'll give you a quick look now. So it's reasonably clean down here. I've kind of just organised it all and tried to make it a little bit easier for everything that's going at the moment. I think because of that nutrient outbreak with everything, I did get a little bit of, what do you call it, cyanobacteria, so I've nailed that with a bit of a treatment. I'm just going to start dosing Nopox. So I'm just doing that by hand at the moment, but yeah, it's a pretty simple system down here. Water in, basic filter sock. I've got a little carbon reactor just here as well. I'm just using the Aquaforest carbon at the moment. Just a simple bubble maker skimmer. This thing's honestly, for a tiny little skimmer, it just pulls out such good gunk. I've got no complaints about that skimmer at all, and it was pretty cheap too. Yeah, then return pump, goes into chiller, goes back through to the return, so it's all just one pump now. Just kind of simplified that. I've got my dosing vessels down here. I'm just using Reef Essentials, so just its components A, B and C, aragonite, and I'm just using them on X1 doses, Kamoa X1 doses, and these things do fantastic. I like how you can just kind of program them so simply just via your phone, so it's just all done so easily. And then yeah, I've just got my little RODI chamber down there as well, so the sump that I'm actually going to be upgrading to is not too dissimilar size from this. I didn't really want, like I don't want to have a lot of stuff in my sump. I'd rather have more space in my cabinet for bits and pieces, so it's about the same size as this, but the RO chamber is actually in the back, so you can just fill up your RO chamber. So instead of me having that fish tank there, using it as an RO chamber, it'll just be in the back end of the sump, so that'll work out perfectly for me. I know this is something that's just so simple, but that light, it's just a little motion sensor light from Bunnings, and it's so awesome to not have to use, you know, some other source of power, and I can just charge that once in every now and then. I can just come in here and either wave my hand and it'll turn on, or, you know, just makes life a lot easier to be able to see what you're actually doing when you're working in the cabinetry for your fish tank. certainly one thing I enjoy. So when all the pumps are off, you can look down from the top of your tank, check out everything going on. See those clownfish shaking around in that gonopora, pretending it's an anemone. It's a little bit hard with the light reflection. But yeah, it's kind of nice to see it all in a very still glory at the same time. I might move a few little bits and pieces around in here too. We'll see how we go. I'm just trying to bring this bird's nest back to life. It had a bit of STN, slow tissue necrosis. So I might need to chop that out, but it's actually starting to grow back just with the aminos and stuff that are going in this tank. This little bird's nest came out of the little coastal lagoon, so yeah, interesting there. I've lost a couple of invertebrates as well, so I'll pull those shells out. Yeah, all in all, tank's bouncing back pretty good. Anyway, let's get stuck in, get this water change done, so I can continue with my day. So I'm sure I've said it in other videos before, but I've actually got some pretty bad shoulders on me, so carrying buckets down low doesn't bother me so much, but actually pulling them up and pouring them into the tank can be quite tedious for me. So anyway, I've just got a little return pump down in here, just a cheap Aqua 1 pump, bit of hose, little tap on it too so I can control what's going in the shepherd's hook. And this means that I can sit the heavy buckets on the ground and at least get most of the water out of them and into the tank before I have to pick them up and actually pour it into the tank. So I'm just going to actually chuck 20 litres in for now, just so that Gorgonian's nice and covered in the water, because I don't like him being out of the water for too long. And then I'm going to hit the Aptosia with Aptosia X and maybe feed a few corals, move a few bits and pieces around, pull out some bits and pieces, and go from there. And then we'll just top it up with the other 20 litres of fresh salt water. My big orange shoulder tang decided he was going to bury underneath the substrate for a period of time there, so he's just made the tank look all funky. But hit a lot of Aptosia. Hopefully I've got most of them. Hopefully they all die. And the last step's just to fill the tank up with a little bit more water. Then it should be good to turn the pumps back on and make everything in check. Go and clean this skimmer cup. Replace the filter sock. and then we'll come and have a look at it after it's all cleared up and looking good again. I've moved quite a few corals around just to try to make the most of the space that I've got at the moment. Hopefully they all enjoy their new positions. We'll see how it goes. The tank's looking nice and clean. Chiller's just kicked on, unfortunately. But yeah, down in here, the skimmer's already coming to work. Just turn that motion light back on. You can see, even after just being on for about an hour or so, it's already pulling out gunk. This little thing for a little cheap, under $200 skimmer is an absolute little weapon. I absolutely love it. Fantastic bit of equipment. But yeah, no, it's all looking good. It's all looking nice and clean. Happy days. So there you have it, guys, just a bit of a simple maintenance video, I guess, on my fish tank. Hope you guys got a little bit of a kick out of it. It's looking pretty good at the moment, it's clearing up quite nicely. The corals all seem to be nice and puffy at the moment as well, which is always a good sign. As you can see, I also did a bit of extra work today and I made this new light pelmet up the top here. It's not 100% finished, but it'll do for now. I'm pretty excited about that, to be honest. That's a big task that I wanted to do, checked off the list. As I said earlier, guys, there's going to be heaps of stuff that's going on with this tank, so stick around for a few updates and stuff on it if you just want to watch me tinker around with my little side hobby to my reptile addiction. Yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give the video a like, give it a comment if you want to, share it around if you want to as well, and don't forget to check out Patreon and Teespring, of course. So anyway, guys, I'll catch you on the next video, and I might show you how I built that. Take it easy.